The city had fallen into chaos. For weeks, the headlines were the same. Another home invasion leaves families terrified. Wealthy neighborhoods, once thought untouchable, had become the favorite targets of a ruthless group of masked robbers. No matter how high the walls, how advanced the security systems, or how many guards were hired, nothing seemed to stop them. Inside his sprawling mansion, Richard Hayes, a self-made millionaire, thought he had prepared for everything. Cameras lined the gates, alarms could be triggered with the press of a button, and private security roamed the grounds. Yet that night, when the robbers struck, Richard discovered how fragile those protections really were. It happened quickly. A crash at the front gate. Shouts in the dark. The barking of guard dogs cut off abruptly. Within minutes, masked men stormed into the house. Richard froze as panic swept through his staff. His chefs, cleaners, and assistants screamed, scattering in terror. Some locked themselves in closets. Others fled out the back door. But one person didn't move. At the far end of the hall, Angela, the maid who had worked for Richard for over a decade, stood still. Her dark eyes were steady, her breathing calm. She clutched a folded towel in her hands, as if nothing unusual had happened. While everyone else was trembling, Angela remained composed, almost serene. From his hiding spot behind a heavy oak desk, Richard noticed her and couldn't believe it. Why isn't she afraid? Doesn't she realize what's happening? One of the robbers, a tall man in a black mask, approached her. "Move," he barked, waving a crowbar. Angela didn't flinch. Instead, she lifted her chin slightly and said, in a firm, steady voice, "You don't want to do this." The robber blinked, thrown off by her calmness. Victims usually cried, begged, or screamed. None had spoken with such quiet authority. Angela took a step closer. "I don't know what you've been through, but this path won't fix it. Look around you, you're scaring people who've done nothing to you. Is that the kind of man you want to be remembered as?" The room grew tense. The other intruders paused, watching. For the first time, their confident aggression wavered. Richard, still crouched in fear, felt something shift inside him. He had built empires, negotiated billion-dollar deals, and stood at the top of boardrooms filled with powerful men. Yet in this moment, watching Angela confront danger with such composure, he realized he had never known true courage. She wasn't armed. She wasn't rich. She had no bodyguards or security systems to protect her. All she had was her voice and her unshakable calm. And somehow, it was working. The leader of the group lowered his weapon slightly. "Lady, don't test me," he growled, though his tone lacked conviction. Angela's eyes softened. "You have a choice. Right now, leave before you do something that will haunt you for the rest of your life." For a long moment, silence filled the mansion. Then, almost unbelievably, the men began to back away. One muttered something under his breath. Another tugged at the leader's arm, urging him toward the exit. Within minutes, they were gone, vanishing into the night as quickly as they had come. The alarms still blared, lights still flashed, but the danger had passed. The staff slowly emerged from hiding, trembling and whispering in disbelief. Richard stood, his legs shaky. His eyes found Angela, who calmly set the folded towel on a table, as though nothing extraordinary had happened. "Angela," his voice cracked. You just stop them." She gave a small, humble smile. "Sometimes, people just need to be reminded they're human." Word of the attempted robbery spread quickly. But what caught the world's attention wasn't the crime, it was Angela's bravery. Security footage, later released by the police, showed her standing fearlessly in front of the intruders, speaking with calm authority. The clip went viral overnight. News anchors called her the maid who faced fear. Psychologists analyzed her composure, calling it a rare example of disarming confidence. Social media overflowed with admiration. "She's braver than an army." Money didn't stop the robbers, but her courage did. For Richard, the event was life-changing. He had spent years believing his fortune was his greatest protection, but that night showed him the truth. Money could buy walls, guards, and alarms, but not bravery, not wisdom, not the strength of character Angela carried within her. He called the staff together and announced new changes. Angela would no longer work as just a maid. She would be promoted to head of security and staff welfare. "If anyone deserves to lead this house," he said, "it's the one who showed us what real courage looks like." Angela tried to protest, insisting she had only done what felt right, but Richard wouldn't hear it. "You didn't just save this house," he told her, "you saved me." Weeks turned into months, but Angela's story continued to inspire. She was invited to speak at community events, schools, even law enforcement seminars. Her message was always simple: fear doesn't control us, our choices do. Richard often stood quietly at the back of those events, watching the woman who had once been invisible in his mansion become a beacon for the world. The millionaire who thought he had everything realized he had been missing the most valuable lesson of all. Courage isn't found in wealth or status, it's found in the quiet strength of the human heart. And on the night when the city was held hostage by fear, it was a maid named Angela who reminded the world of that truth.